Have you ever experienced this? You sleep a full 7 or 8 hours. You don't stay up late. You don't overwork yourself. You still take good care of your skin every night. You even take collagen every day. But then, on a very ordinary morning, as you stand in front of the mirror, you suddenly notice that your face looks different. Not necessarily more wrinkles. Not that your skin looks clearly worse. Just that your face feels softer, your jawline is less defined, and your face seems to be missing its familiar sense of lift. Many women over 60 find themselves asking, "What happened overnight?" And the first thing they do is blame themselves. Was it because they didn't sleep deeply enough? Because they chose the wrong moisturizer? Or because age has finally caught up with them? But the truth is, this is not your fault. The face does not sag because of one single night of sleep. It is reflecting a deeper change happening inside the body, one that very few women are ever properly told about after 60. In this video, we're going to clarify why the face can look noticeably more sagged in the morning and what hormone-related mistake most women have unknowingly been making. Before we continue, please leave a comment and let me know. Where are you watching this video from, your state or your country? I read every comment to better understand my community. And if you feel that content like this is truly necessary for women over 60, please click subscribe to help the channel reach 100,000 subscribers. Your support is not just for me, it's for many other women who are quietly feeling confused by the changes happening in their bodies. Before we talk about any mistake, we need to pause and ask a very important question. What has truly changed in a woman's body after 60? Because without understanding this, many women continue to blame themselves. They think facial sagging happens because they didn't care for their skin carefully enough, didn't use the right products, or simply didn't try hard enough. But the truth isn't there. After 60, the skin doesn't suddenly become weak. I think it is simply operating under a completely different biological system. When you were younger, the female body was strongly guided by estrogen. This hormone is not only related to reproduction, it also acts as a kind of priority signal for the skin. Estrogen helps stimulate collagen production, maintains elasticity, retains water within skin tissue, and most importantly, helps the skin recover quite well overnight, even when sleep isn't truly perfect. But after menopause, estrogen levels drop significantly, and along with that, the body begins to change its order of priorities. Energy is no longer allocated to facial skin the way it once was. Instead, the body focuses on protecting more essential systems: the cardiovascular system, bones and joints, the brain, and long-term mobility. This doesn't mean the body is abandoning the skin. It is simply doing what it needs to do to preserve life and long-term independence. So what's the result? The skin becomes thinner. Its ability to retain moisture decreases. Collagen gradually declines over time. And most importantly, overnight recovery is no longer as strong as it once was. That's why, when you wake up in the morning, your face doesn't bounce back the way it did years ago. Areas that were once naturally supported, like the cheeks, jawline, or corners of the mouth, begin to look softer, slightly heavier, especially after a night's sleep. This happens very subtly, not all at once, not in a way that immediately makes the skin look bad. And because of that, many women think everything is still normal, until one morning they realize their face no longer holds its familiar shape. And if you're at this stage, please remember one thing: this is not a failure of skincare. It's a sign that your body needs a different approach, one that aligns better with the biological rhythm after 60. In the next part, we'll explain clearly why nighttime is the moment when these changes become most visible on your face. And the most important thing to understand is this: the face does not sag after just one night. What you see in the morning is not a sudden change, but the result of many nights when the body no longer recovered deeply enough. A process that happens very quietly, so quietly that most women don't notice it, until the reflection in the mirror begins to look different. If you've ever woken up in the morning with the feeling that your face looks softer or lacks its familiar sense of lift, please leave a 1-inch the comments. And if, up to this point, you haven't really noticed that change yet, you can leave a 0. There's no right or wrong here. These numbers simply help me better understand what signals women's bodies after 60 are sending, And from those very small signals, we'll begin to uncover a hormone-related mistake that many women have unknowingly made, not because they did something wrong, but because they were never taught how to listen to their bodies in a way that matches this stage of life. In the next part, we'll go through that together, slowly, and without creating any added pressure for you. When people talk about hormone mistakes, many women immediately think of big things: tests, medications, or complex medical interventions. But the mistake we're talking about here is far quieter and far more common. It's continuing to care for the skin and body, the same way as 10 or 20 years ago, while the internal hormone system has completely changed. After 60, a woman's body no longer operates under the strong direction of estrogen, as it once did. That means all processes related to recovery, water retention, and tissue regeneration now follow a different rhythm. Yet many women don't realize this. They keep trying to do more products, more skincare steps, more treatments. But the body, after 60, no longer responds well to that kind of intensification strategy. The first mistake is focusing only on the surface of the skin. Moisturizers, serums, and masks still have value. They make the skin feel softer, more comfortable, less irritated, but they cannot replace the role of the deeper support system, where collagen, water, and hormones work together to maintain facial structure. When hormones are no longer balanced, the skin cannot hold its shape the way it used to, no matter how carefully the surface is treated. The second mistake is underestimating the role of the stress hormone cortisol. After 60, the body becomes more sensitive to stress. It doesn't have to be major stress. Prolonged worry, overthinking before sleep, or the constant feeling of having to hold everything together is enough. When cortisol stays high at night, it sends the body a clear message. This is not the time to recover. At that point, the body prioritizes survival functions instead of regeneration. Collagen production is suppressed. The ability to retain water decreases. Supportive tissues feel less firm in the morning. This explains why many women say, "Even though I sleep enough, my face still looks tired and sagging." The third mistake is confusing sleeping enough hours with sleeping at the right quality. You may lie in bed for 8 hours, but if sleep is shallow or frequently interrupted, the body never reaches the deep restorative stage. And after 60, that deep sleep stage is exactly when hormones and collagen have the best chance to work effectively. When sleep is fragmented, skin recovery is interrupted. The result doesn't appear overnight. It builds little by little, over months and years. At some point, you look in the mirror and feel that your face is no longer being supported the way it once was. And the most important thing I want you to remember is this: these mistakes do not come from a lack of effort. They come from the fact that women after 60 are rarely taught how to adjust their habits to match the body's new hormonal rhythm. In the next part, we'll take a closer look at the very early signs that the body is losing its ability to recover at night. Signals so subtle that many women have overlooked them for a very long time. Before facial sagging becomes obvious, the body always sends signals very early. The problem is that most women after 60 have never been taught how to read these signals correctly. These early signs rarely appear as deep wrinkles or a sudden deterioration of the skin. They are very subtle and easy to overlook. The first sign is a face that looks tired even after adequate sleep. You don't stay up late. You don't overwork yourself. You still get enough hours of sleep every night. But when you wake up in the morning, your face lacks its natural freshness, as if your body never truly rested. This is a sign that your sleep is no longer deeply restorative, even though the total sleep time is sufficient. The second sign is that the skin feels softer than usual in the morning, not dry, not flaky, but when you touch it, it feels like it's missing its familiar firmness. This is often related to a reduced ability to retain water in the skin tissue, a very common change when estrogen levels decline. The third sign is that the jawline is less defined than before, even though your weight hasn't increased. Many women assume this is simply due to aging or fat accumulation. But in reality, in many cases, it's because the deeper support system beneath the skin is weakening due to poor nighttime recovery. The fourth sign is that the cheeks appear slightly heavier when you smile or speak. Not obvious sagging, just the feeling that the face seems to drop a little more than it used to. This is one of the earliest signs that collagen and elastin are no longer being adequately rebuilt during sleep. The fifth sign is that the skin improves very slowly, even though you're still caring for it consistently. Your moisturizer is still good, your routine is still correct, but the results are no longer as noticeable as they were a few years ago. This doesn't mean the products have stopped working. It means the internal recovery foundation has changed. All of these signs do not appear at the same time. They show up little by little, and because they're so subtle, many women have overlooked them. For a long time, if you recognize one or more of these signs, please remember this: there is nothing to be afraid of. This is simply the body's gentle way of reminding you that it needs support in a different way, one that's more appropriate for this stage of life. Now, I would really like to hear from you. Among the changes mentioned, which one concerns or confuses you the most? You can leave a comment and share. A tired-looking face in the morning? A less defined jawline? Cheeks that appear heavier? Or skin that feels less firm? I read every comment, and what you share helps me prepare future content that's closer, more practical, and more aligned with what women after 60 are truly experiencing. In the next part, we'll talk about how to adjust in the right direction, not to fight aging, but to support the body so it can recover better each night. Once you understand why the face changes after 60, the next important step is not to look for a quick fix. It is to change your approach. Many women enter this stage hoping to return to the face they had 10 or 20 years ago. But the truth is, the body after 60 no longer responds well to old strategies. The more you try to force it, the more likely you are to feel tired and discouraged. The right approach is not to fight aging, but to support the body according to its current biological rhythm. The first thing to adjust is your expectations around skincare. Moisturizers, serums, and skincare routines still have value. They help the skin feel healthier, softer, and less irritated, but they cannot replace the role of the deeper support system underneath. Once you understand this, you will no longer feel disappointed when a good product does not deliver the lifting effect promised in advertisements. Skincare after 60 is no longer about doing more, but about doing it right. Gentle hydration, protecting the skin barrier, avoiding excessive stimulation. All of this serves one purpose: to create the best possible conditions so the skin does not lose more, not to force it to look young again. The second shift is placing the focus back on nighttime. After 60, nighttime becomes the most important period for the face, not because you sleep more, but because this is when the body still has its greatest potential to recover if it is supported correctly. A few small adjustments can make a significant difference over time. Going to bed at a relatively consistent time, reducing harsh light and screen exposure before sleep preview, creating a gentle wind-down period for the nervous system before getting into bed. These steps are not meant to force deep sleep immediately. They help the body understand that it is time to rest, that it no longer needs to stay alert or tense. And when the nervous system settles, stress hormones gradually decrease, allowing recovery processes to happen more naturally. The third shift is rethinking your relationship with stress. After 60, stress no longer shows up as major pressures. It often appears quietly. Ongoing worry, the feeling of having to keep everything together, the habit of overthinking in the evening. These things, even when subtle, are enough to keep cortisol elevated at night. And when cortisol is high, the body does not prioritize. Skin regeneration, reducing stress after 60, does not require dramatic changes. It simply means allowing yourself to slow down a little, stop pushing yourself so hard, and accept that not everything needs to be solved immediately. The fourth shift is using gentle support at the right time. Light facial massage in the evening, not to lift, but to support circulation. and send a relaxation signal to the body. Gentle movement during the day to help nighttime sleep become deeper. Regular, balanced meals to prevent the body from entering a low-energy state that drives stress hormones higher. None of these create instant changes the very next morning, but together they build a more stable foundation for the body to recover gradually. And when that foundation is strengthened, the face no longer has to carry stress it was never meant to bear. Change after 60 does not come from a single action. It comes from the way you treat your body every day and especially every night. When many women look back at this process, they realize that what exhausted them most was not the change in their skin, but the feeling of not understanding what was happening to their own body. And when that understanding becomes clearer, everything naturally begins to feel lighter in a way that is difficult to put into words. When the face begins to change, what exhausts many women the most is not the sagging itself. It's the thoughts that come with it. Many women quietly believe that if their face looks less firm, then they must have done something wrong. And from that belief, a series of misunderstandings begins to form. The first misunderstanding is thinking, I haven't taken good enough care of myself. So they try harder, more products, more skincare steps, stronger treatments. But the irony is this: skin after 60 no longer responds well to doing more. It needs stability, gentleness, and internal support more than ever. The second misunderstanding is believing, if I just use the right product, everything will be fine. Good products still matter, but no cream can replace deep sleep. No serum can compensate for long-term hormone imbalance, and no treatment can work effectively when the body is under quiet, ongoing stress. When all expectations are placed on products, disappointment comes easily, and that disappointment becomes a new source of stress, further interfering with recovery. The third misunderstanding is comparing yourself to others. She's older than me and her skin is still firm. My friend looks so much younger. But every body has a different hormonal history, a different biological rhythm, a different level of stress. Comparison only pulls you further away from listening to the very personal signals of your own body. The fourth misunderstanding is thinking that sagging means everything will only get worse. In reality, that's not true. When the mechanism is understood and care is adjusted appropriately, many women notice that their face becomes more stable, changes less abruptly in the morning, and they feel more in control of their body. Not to turn back time, but to live more harmoniously with the current stage of life. The most important thing I want you to remember in this part is this: changes in the face are not a sign of failure. They are a very gentle reminder that your body needs to be treated in a different way, with more kindness, more understanding, and less pressure. And as these misunderstandings are gradually released, many women begin to realize that what they truly need is not another new solution, but a new way of seeing their own body. After 60, if you've followed along to this point, you may have already realized something very important. Facial changes after 60 are not because you did something wrong and not because you didn't care enough. Yes, what you see in the mirror each morning is the result of very natural changes happening inside the body, especially hormones and nighttime recovery. When you understand that, much of the self-blame begins to fall away. You no longer have to chase quick fix promises. You no longer feel that you must try harder and harder just to hold on to an old image. Instead, you can begin treating your body more gently, listening more closely, and adjusting little by little in a way that matches the biological rhythm of this stage of life. Change after 60 does not have to be a battle. It can be a process of understanding yourself more deeply, caring for yourself more wisely, and living with less pressure each day. If this video helped you understand why your face is changing, or helped you feel even a little less self-critical, please click like to support the channel. Each like is not just a number. It's a signal that gentle, accurate, and pressure-free content should reach more women. Women who are quietly going through the same changes as you. And if you know a friend, a sister, or a family member who feels confused when seeing her face change with age, please share this video with her. Sometimes what we need most is not more advice, but the feeling that we are not alone. Finally, if you would like to continue walking with this channel and listening to content created specifically for women after 60, please subscribe to Woman Over 60 Secrets. Here, we don't chase youth. We choose to understand correctly, care wisely, and live more gently through every stage of life.